Hey guys, welcome back to my channel as I wake up from this nap. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to knit this chunky knitted blanket. Now these are very popular lately because I think you don't actually really need to know how to knit officially to make them, so they're very easy and anyone can learn how to make them. And you can actually make them pretty quickly in just like under an hour, really, depending on how big of a blanket you want to go. All you're going to need in terms of materials is a thick yarn and nothing else. It's that easy. So the first thing you have to do is take the end of your yarn, so here's the tail end, and we have to make a slip knot here because that's going to be the very first loop in our blanket, or the first stitch. So to make a slip knot, you just take the end of the yarn and you make a little loop like this. We're going to reach our hand through the back side of the loop, go through and pull the yarn that's connected to the rest of the yarn through the loop. So go through the loop with your hand, reach in and grab the rest of the yarn here, and we're going to gently pull it all through to create a new loop. And you can kind of pull on all the ends here just to make it snug. So that is a slip knot, and if this were regular knitting, we would slide this onto a needle and start casting on a bunch of stitches. But in this case, we don't have a needle, obviously, and so we're just going to get started with basically the same principle of creating loops and adding them on, creating a chain of loops. So to add on more loops, we're going to repeat that same motion. We're going to reach our hand through the loop and grab more yarn and pull it through to create another loop. And you can just keep holding on to that new loop because we're going to go through it again, reach through and grab another loop, and pull it through, and stay holding on to this new loop because we're going to reach through and just grab more yarn, pull it through to create another new loop, reach through, grab more, reach through, grab more. So as you go along, you'll be forming this kind of chain of loops, kind of like a braid, and you'll see little circles start to form. And however long you make this initial chain is going to determine the width of the blanket. It's going to grow out from here. So you can add on as many loops or as little loops as you want to. I'll just add a few more. So you reach through the loop once again, take the yarn, pull it through to create a new loop, add on another one, grab another loop. There's a couple different methods of doing this first part, but I like to keep it pretty simple. For me, the most important thing is creating a series of loops and getting the right width of the project that I want. What we're going to do now is we're going to reach through each of these little circles that we've created, and we're going to grab the yarn here and pull it through. So we're going to reach through this circle, grab the yarn, and pull it through, creating a new loop on top of this one. So it can help if you kind of separate the circles a little bit just to make it a little clearer where we're going to put our hand through. And it's always going to be the bottom hole that you're going to want to reach through. So we're going to reach through here, 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 and here, and I think here. We'll see. As you can see, I'm not very fussy about this first kind of setup stage because once you start adding loops and it starts looking like a knitted blanket, this part is, I mean, it's you can barely see it really. So I'm just going to jump in and get started. So this loop we can ignore for now. We're going to pick it up when we come back. I'm going to reach in right through this one and grab the yarn here and make a loop. So put my hand through the hole, grab the yarn, and gently kind of tug a new loop out, just like that. Again, we'll reach into this hole here, grab the yarn, and gently pull a new loop here. Reach into this next one, grab the yarn, give it a tug, and then we've got another one here, reach through, give it a tug, and then this is the last one, give it a tug. Actually, I have another one right here, yeah, from the first one that I cast it on. So this is going to be 7 stitches wide. Obviously it's not very wide for a blanket, but this is just to show you. And I'm keeping these stitches pretty loose. These are really big loops, just so you can see. In reality, when you're doing your own project, you can make these a lot smaller if you want a tighter project. If you're using tighter stitches, you're going to have kind of a more dense blanket, or almost like a rug in some cases, depending on the yarn you're using. So now we're ready to add a new row of loops, or a new row of stitches. And I like to lay my yarn just right alongside it once again as a kind of a guide. And we are ready to reach through each one of these loops and pull through another loop. And this time it's a lot easier because you can clearly see the loops that we're going to be reaching through and pulling more loops through. So here's the first one. We're going to reach our hand through, pull the yarn very gently, and tug through a new loop just like that. There's the next one. Reach through, grab the yarn, and gently pull through another loop. Pull through, add a loop. Pull through, add a loop. Pull through, pull through, and at the very end, we've got the last one. Try not to get these loops twisted. It can be, especially if you're using big, bulky yarn, it can have a tendency to want to twist. So I like to kind of just make sure that everything is nice and straight and nothing is twisting up. But now I'm ready to go right back and do another thing of loops. So I don't need to grab this one because that was the last one we did. I'm going to reach through this one, grab yarn, pull it through. So I mean, this is technically, I guess, I don't know. The thing about arm knitting is you can technically do this on your arms. I mean, this is what some people are doing when they're doing all those fancy hand motions. For me, it's easier just to lay it all out on the ground so I can kind of just see everything and not have to maneuver my arms or anything like that. So I guess this is arm knitting. It's kind of like hand knitting, I guess. I don't know what you're doing. It's I'm still kind of debating what I'm going to title this video in terms of an accurate representation of what I'm doing. But as you can see, now I'm going back again to do another row. This is all you do. I mean, it's very, very simple. You're just pulling through loops into new loops, and over time it's forming this really nice stockinette stitch pattern. When you've got a good length and you're finished with your blanket and you're ready to cast everything off and tie it all off, we are going to do kind of the same process of adding another chain of loops on top of this, but we're going to grab 2 loops at the same time, slowly going down the line so it all gets kind of binded off. So for this first loop, reach through the first loop and create a new loop just like normal. Now, instead of setting this down, you're going to grab the next loop on the chain here, and we're going to reach through both of these loops now, the new one that you just added and this old one. Reach through, grab the yarn through there, and pull through just one loop. So now we have one new loop. We're going to hold the new loop, pick up the next old loop in the line, reach through both of these and pull the yarn through, creating a new loop. So again, we've got a new loop here. Pick up an old loop along with the new loop, reach through both of them, and grab the yarn, pull through a new loop. And when you're doing this, you don't want to make it too tight because obviously that'll constrict kind of the stretchiness of the blanket. So keep everything pretty loose. You're just going to go all the way down the line here, picking up a new loop with the old loop, adding in a new loop until you get to the end. Anyway, when you get to the end, you've got 2 loops left. Just reach through, grab the yarn, pull it through, and it should look like this. With this last loop, what you can do now, I'm not going to do it because I'm going to reuse this yarn for my actual project. You can cut the yarn here, and you can take that tail of the yarn, put it through this loop and pull it tight so this loop closes in on the yarn, and that'll create basically a closed slip knot, and then you can just weave in that extra tail end of the yarn along the side or along the border. So those are the very basics of arm knitting or hand knitting, however you want to call it. Hopefully the video was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any tips or tricks or questions or anything like that. And I will see you next time.